Hey guys, so you have been talking or watching and reading some things about hurricanes the past couple days. Before we left for Christmas, we were talking about just all kinds of different natural disasters and weather related disasters. Um, but we're really focusing in on hurricanes this week because next week, when you guys get back in the building, hopefully, we will be doing a big, giant STEM project. And it's going to take us a couple days to do it. But we got to have all of our background knowledge to be able to do it. And we know that we got to do all the boring stuff first so we can do the fun stuff. Okay. So you've talked about hurricanes and you realize that there are certain categories that are divided by how fast the wind is going in those. So then we go to the next step of just really learning about some specific ones. And one that we're really going to focus on for the next couple of days is Hurricane Katrina. I remember Hurricane Katrina very well, and probably your parents do. The year that Hurricane Katrina hit, I was actually getting married that year, and all of my plans for my wedding had to change due to the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina. And so today I'm going to read you a book because you're not in the classroom with me. So we are virtually reading this book, and it's just simply called Hurricane Katrina. And so it's a nonfiction book. We know that. It's written by Gail Tuchman. And so let's read this together. All right. Tracking the storm. Hurricane hunter Jack Parrish has flown into 60 hurricanes. He has flown into a hurricane's eye, which is the center. Remember, we've learned that 523 times. Jack tracks storms before they hit. He lets people know about them. So one of our new words that we would look for, we're learning about text features. It's pointing to right here. This is the storm's eye. Look at that picture. So you got to see this is one picture. And so all of this is circling around, swishing around, and this would be the eye of the storm. On August 23rd, 2005, Jack was tracking a storm east of Florida. And this is what he says. It's a direct quote from him. It says, "It was early in the storm's life. It was still weak. I flew low right through the storm's eye wall. It got stronger quickly." So then, let's see. The next day, the National Hurricane Center named the storm Katrina. It warned people in southern Florida to be careful. On August 25th, Katrina made landfall near Miami, Florida. It was a Category 1 hurricane. This was its first landfall. And so a new word here would be landfall. And that means when a hurricane's eye crosses the land, the storm has made landfall. And so we look over here at the category scale. Remember, you've learned about this already the past couple of days. And it goes from Category 1 all the way to 5. And so whenever it first made landfall, it was a Category 1. And that was August 25th. And it was the very tip bottom part of Florida. And so when it's a Category 1, its wind speeds are between 74 and 95 miles per hour. When it made landfall, it had a landfall wind speed of about 80 miles per hour. Katrina grew stronger over the next 2 days. It moved into the Gulf of Mexico. It gained energy from the warm, deep water. Its winds sped up, and by August 27th, it was a Category 3. So it went from a 1 to a 3. Jack Parrish was flying all around Katrina on a high-flying jet. This is another quote from him. It says, "I needed to get information to forecast what Katrina would do next. Where was it going? How strong would it be? I soon knew there was nothing that would stop this storm from exploding." And so the date on this was August 27th. And at this point, it was Category 3 with a wind speed of 115 miles per hour. By August 28th, Hurricane Katrina had doubled in size. Its winds swirled at 175 miles per hour, as fast as a high-speed train. This giant Category 5 hurricane was now roaring toward New Orleans, Louisiana. So let's look. It literally went from a Category 1 on August 25th, sorry, you can't even see that, to a Category 3 on August 27th. And by August 28th, overnight, it jumped to a Category 5, the strongest of all of the hurricanes out there. And so this is its path. So it started down here, whipped up, nicked the bottom of Florida, built up strength when it was in the Gulf of Mexico, and then bam, it's projected to come this way. Hurricane Katrina was heading for New Orleans. The mayor ordered everyone in the city to evacuate, but many people could not leave. Many were worried about their homes and families. When it says evacuate, that means to leave. If you are asked to evacuate something, you need to leave there quickly. A shelter was set up in the city's Superdome, the city's sports stadium. Those left behind could wait out the storm there. The thing is that whenever they tried to do that, some people decided to leave too late, and instead of getting out of town, they ended up getting stuck on bridges and overpasses and things like that. And here we go. Katrina strikes. At 6:10 a.m. on August 29th, Katrina crashed into the Gulf Coast. The wind speed was 125 miles per hour. It made landfall for the second time 65 miles south of New Orleans. Katrina destroyed towns and cities along the Gulf Coast. Then it moved inland. Strong winds caused the water to rise. A powerful wall of water pushed onto the shore and hit the land. The storm surge hit New Orleans. The city is like a bowl surrounded by water. There were levees, large earth walls around it. They were meant to protect the city from flooding, but the levees broke. Water burst through. It spilled over the levees. New Orleans was flooded from both sides. So look at the city. It's incredible. New Orleans filled with water, and the water kept rising. Pumps to drain the water failed, and soon most of the city was underwater. People were still sheltering at the Superdome. The winds had ripped off part of the roof. Water leaked in. There was no power. People were hungry and thirsty. Look at the entire city here. All you see are roofs, and probably there's a lot more underneath there that have already, they were probably not as tall as these buildings, and so they're completely submerged, which means to be underwater. To the rescue. Rescue workers searched for people. Helicopters lifted people off of roofs. Boats pulled them from the water. Volunteers rushed to help neighbors. The U.S. military was sent in. Many survivors had been rescued by September 5th, a week after landfall. So look, they sent people from all over the place because people were literally having to be airlifted out because they were all standing on their roofs waving flags, trying to get somebody's attention like, hey, I'm here, I'm alive, because at that point they didn't think many people were alive. So after the hurricane, it took about 5 weeks to drain New Orleans and nearby areas of 250 billion gallons of water. People began to return to their homes a month after Katrina had hit the city. Janarka Richardson, then age 12, cried out when she came back to her house. This is a quote from her. It says, "It was so quiet and dark, no lights, no people, no birds, no animals. It was like a ghost town. It smelled and you didn't hear anything." So people started to rebuild their lives. Dave and Judy Walker went back to work. This is a quote from Dave. "Judy and I write for the New Orleans newspaper. Katrina is still in stories I write. After Katrina, Judy asked people to send in old family recipes. They helped other people replace recipes that were swept away by the flood. They could save this important part of their history." So look at this. This is like what some of the houses looked like in 2005 when it happened. And then by 2014, a lot of the homes had been rebuilt. Looking ahead, no one will forget Hurricane Katrina in the Gulf Coast area. 1,836 people lost their lives. Over 1 million homes were damaged, but the floodwaters could not wash away the strength and spirit of the people of New Orleans. Recovering from the hurricane has been a long and painful process, but today, New Orleans is alive and hopeful. Okay, and this is just kind of like Katrina in numbers. So just here are some figures. You ready? 1.2 million people left in New Orleans area in the days before Katrina landed, so they were able to get out. 8 dolphins were rescued 2 weeks after being swept out of a water park. It's pretty crazy. 504 vessels ended up on dry land. That means like boats or any type of water vehicle. Hurricane Katrina struck 90,000 square miles of land. That's how many miles of land that it damaged. 7.4 million gallons of oil poured into the water. 80% of New Orleans was underwater. 25,000 people took shelter at the Superdome. The levees protecting New Orleans failed in at least 50 different places. We're going to talk about levees in a couple days. So keep that word in your noodle. 60,000 people could not get out of their homes. They stayed in attics or on roofs until they were rescued. 68 million meals and snacks were given out by the Red Cross. And Hurricane Katrina caused a lot of damage. It cost $96 to $125 billion. So all of that being said, we see the damage from this one weather-related disaster. And remember that our main focus over the next several weeks, or last few weeks, and then the next couple weeks coming up, had been to try to figure out a design solution to prevent the damages that would be caused by weather-related hazard. So keep that going in the back of your mind as we keep trucking on along over the next couple days. Okay, guys? All right, miss you bunches. You got a discussion question after this, so keep your, I hope you paid attention. If not, watch it again. I mean, because I know you miss seeing me, right? All right, bye, guys.